what or who. I mean, like, those fundamental questions. Ultimately, what a philosopher is attempting to figure out is how did we come to are we human?
Why do I move?
Are we human? Are you a human? Are you human? Yes or no? You can't, like, I can get a trained chimpanzee to shake his head better than that. Are you human? How do you know?
Why are you human?
Who's gonna answer those questions? People do it all the time. People do it all the time.
Fuck.
And I'll tell you why in a minute. How do you know you're human? Were you, did you remember your birth?
Because I was told I was.
Like, did you hold your breath and be like, I'm coming out? Well, how do you know you're human?
Bro, Fox, you can't do that with me.
I can understand animal, but a different beast.
Are you the same man? Are you a different, but a different beast?
That's what
Omid, you think you're good at soccer? What if it's all simulation? What if it's a fucking computer game? And you're living in the Matrix right now? Right? There's some little kid in another world going like, I'm gonna do moves.
I'm just gonna hit this header right now.
How do you know?
Score this 28-yard goal right now.
Right? No, but how, like, legit, how do you know you're not dreaming?
Hop to a
Let's start off with your answer. It's good, I'm gonna let you ask a question.
Alright, so right thing is how we know we're human is like not
Those people are like religious.
it's like
They're not.
Who?
Like the philosophy.
Generally, they're not religious.
Yeah, they're not.
Right? Because,
Like Dr.
well,
J.
2,000 years ago, okay, when we didn't know something as society, it was really easy just to say, well, God must have done it, or one of the gods did it. If it rained too much, why did it rain too much? Well, we didn't sacrifice a sheep for this god. Okay? You know, lightning causes a forest fire. Why? Because Zeus threw lightning down. Okay? And this is true not just in polytheistic religions, but it's true of monotheistic religions as well. Over time, we have attempted to figure out more aspects of the world around us and realize that while that doesn't negate the role of God, there are other explanations for how things work than simply saying, oh, it's God. And so the nature of asking these questions actually forces society to begin to seek more answers. Okay? People had never asked these questions before, and now all of a sudden, because people are asking these questions, you got other people who are going out and seeking these answers. And this leads to a progression from the ancient Romans and Greeks through to today, where we now value the role of science. Science doesn't replace religion. Religion still has a role. And when you go out and talk to scientists, they are still often religious people. Not all of them, but many of them are. Right? Albert Einstein was a religious Jew. Right?
Yeah.
His theories and his discoveries did not negate religion. But people are asking these questions, and sometimes these questions like, how do you know you're a human? Because like he barely moves, and like, you know, he tried to claim that he was born, but he doesn't remember that shit. Right? You try and claim you're good at soccer, but we've all seen you play, so you know we think you're just like being moved by the remote control.
So are you saying he plays like a FIFA character?
Definitely.
That might be Glee.
FC 21 Ultimate, bro. Actually not.
What was your question?
Me?
Yeah.
like what is the philosopher's stone have to do with philosophy?
The Philosopher's Stone, that's a different question for different time.
Yo, what?
So, these concepts of philosophy, as we move forward into the Enlightenment that Tim just did for us, the Enlightenment is a time period, and we'll talk about it and do a whole section on it. These philosophers come to be known as political scientists or political theorists. Many of them were focused on the concept of what is the exact relationship between an individual in society and a government in society, and what are the collective rights and responsibilities of each. Most of you read The Lord of the Flies last year, okay? Barely, whatever, at least you read the Cliff Notes or something like that. There's actually a real life example of Lord of the Flies. Okay, some 20, 30 kids from Papua New Guinea in school got deserted on an island for a while, and eventually were rescued by the Australian Coast Guard.
No.
I think one kid had died or something.
Did they kill each other?
No.
No.
They had developed.
No, Lord of Flies, let me just kill
They
him.
had developed a completely cooperative society. They had shared responsibilities. They did collective
That's
leadership.
surprising.
They did collective leadership. They looked out for each other. Right? Like it's the exact opposite of the outcome of the Lord of the Flies. So what a lot of philosophers and or political scientists, when they think about the role of the individual in the government, they ask these questions like, when we were a hunter-gatherer society, okay, we eventually came to live in cities. We have all eventually agreed to abide by some either moral, ethical codes, say the Ten Commandments, say, you know, the Hadiths in the Quran, whatever have you, and or a set of laws. Why? We always had this choice of not accepting them. Why have we all collectively accepted them? Okay? It actually brings up Locke's point about a social contract. At some point in the development of a society, we as individuals enter into a social contract with the government, meaning that we are willing to give up certain rights in order for all of us to live together, right? I can still sit there and make fun of Adrian, but I agree not to kill him because he then might kill me back or something else. Hence, every culture has a you shall not commit murder. We all acknowledge that sleeping with each other's wives tend to lead to problems. Most cultures, not all, some are shared. Okay, husbands, wives, there's examples of both out there. But many cultures certainly do have that prohibition because it leads to
You
problems.
take 2 steps back, like just 2 steps back. If you, let's just say you agree not to kill me, right? But then you do kill me, I'm gonna kill you back.
Your family members, right? Just personal vendettas, things like that. I mean, luckily your family likes me more than you, so it might not happen, but
That is extremely true.
Yeah.
If I just died, they probably wouldn't kill you.
yeah, I hear you. Kira may come drowning, but you know. Yeah, sorry.
Wait, so when you said, like, there wasn't like you saying that most civilizations were like, depend on God when it's like something, when they needed to answer something, but is there civilizations that had very advanced scientific reasoning for stuff?
That didn't believe in God or what?
No, they believed in God, but they still had advanced, like,
Technology.
not technology, but like scientific, like, research and shit like, I don't know.
All of these societies have had advanced technology for their time period. What you did not have back then were people who pursued scientific research for the pursuit of scientific research, right? And we eventually we hit this point during the Enlightenment. Okay, these ideas of empirical research, of looking out and questioning how the world works and how, you know, whether we revolve around the sun or the sun revolves around us and what have you. A lot of these things did not happen prior.
So civilizations were like, they weren't like trying to explore stuff and shit?
They were not trying to explore some of the fundamental aspects of how the world works. Right? So what the ancient civilizations had developed was they had developed great technologies, which are applied science. Things that work, things that help make things more efficient or better. What they didn't ask was, does the earth revolve around the sun, or does the sun revolve around the earth? And then begin to try and figure out how to find that answer. Do you get the difference?
Yeah,
Right? Like one has a real tangible impact, it's more engineering than it is science. But I don't know if you're asking me the question of like, is there a conflict between the belief in God and advanced technology or science? But my point to you back is that there isn't, right? Like if you go out there and talk to, you know, many of the leading scientists, many of them are still devout, you know, are still religious people. Some are atheists, some aren't, but I mean, you know, statistically speaking, they're as likely to believe in God as the rest of the population is. They just have a different view than what maybe the average person has about what the role of God is.
How were the philosophers received by the people, like during the Enlightenment period? Were they like seen as like crazy or like?
Varying degrees. Sometimes they were kind of considered, insurrectionists, like people looking to overthrow the order. Sometimes they were received well. At this point, when we get to the Enlightenment, many of them are actually in academic institutions. Okay? And so they had a home, they were allowed to think about these things.
Yeah.
Back in the day when it was Socrates and Plato and Aristotle,
They're all a little like.
if they didn't have the support of the ruler at hand, they would have been killed. So anyways, this whole idea of philosophers, okay, political theorists, there are other areas that do these things, but our modern day philosophers are generally, for the most part, academics, teachers, professors. They're the ones who sit there and research random topics and have to write papers on it and get published. Okay? What?
He's here.
Sleeping in the back.
He's chilling, bro.
Hey, apparently the law of large numbers in his case.
Like, come on.
Wait, you start reading.
You start philosophizing and then we'll have that conversation. Over there. Anyways, gentlemen, have a good day.
It's the funnest class I've been. We don't get confidence every day.